And joining us now for the March Progressive Agriculture Foundation safety message, our good friend Bernard Geschke is with us. Bernard, great to catch up with you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing better than I deserve. Jesse, I appreciate the invite.
Well, I appreciate the time. As Bernard, it's a little bittersweet for you and me. This is our technically our last Progressive Agriculture Foundation update, as you are set to ride off into the sunset into retirement, so to speak. A nearly 30-year legacy in farm safety and with the Progressive Agriculture Foundation, and I'd love to just talk about that a little bit. I'd love to start and maybe you just tell us how the foundation got going, how you got involved, what was your role in those early years, Bernard?
Well, it was really an interesting start because 30 years ago I would have never have dreamed that this whole process would have happened here in the last 30 years. But at that time, I was Nebraska's farm safety director, and the Progressive Farmer magazine in the early 90s ran a series of articles called Our Deadly Harvest and talked about all the farmers and ranchers out there that were being injured and killed, and a good percentage of them, or too high of a percentage of them, were youth. And finally, Jack Odell, who was the chief editor of of Progressive Farmer magazine, said that's enough. We're this is enough of the articles. He said we're going to do something about it. And I was fortunate enough to be one of 12 state safety specialists that was invited down to Birmingham, Alabama, to the home of Progressive Farmer magazine. And at that time, I was the safety director in Nebraska, but we had a 3-day meeting down there in which we discussed what's needed out there. How are we going to go out there and educate people across the country? And through that 3-day planning, it was a process in which the thing that was really working out there were safety days. But the thing is, there was no one putting that planning manual together on how to do a safety day. And so the thing is, Jack Odell says, well, then that's one thing the magazine will do. He says, we will put that planning manual together. And so that was great. So then we said, well, there wasn't anybody that was putting a topics and activities manual together, and we talked about all the different topics that was safety hazard, out in rural America.
Mhm.
And long story short, okay, that's what we're going to do too. We're also going to put a topics and activities manual together. And then the third part of it was resources. Where are we going to be able to get these resources and those types of things? And Jack came up to the plate again and says, well, then we're going to do that too. We're going to put that resource to list. So the thing, by the end of the 3 days, we had put together a fantastic package that was a very common product of having a safety day, because we didn't dream this up. I mean, FFA, 4-H, farm bureaus, they were out there doing safety days, but everybody was tripping over the same brick. Everybody was running into the same wall, type of thing. And so we've decided to put this package together, which was a very common topic in a very unique way. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what we've built 30 years on now, is a very common product in a very unique way. And we have a complete package, and that's kind of the way it started. And I was just lucky enough to be invited down there to from Nebraska's safety director. And the interesting thing, Jesse, was when we left Birmingham after that 3-day meeting, Jack Odell gave us all dollars to go back to our state, host a safety day, and then come back to the magazine and report that fall how we spent the money. Safety day, blah, blah, blah. And so we got back down to Birmingham, Alabama. Excuse me. And I think there were 12 of us specialists down there, but the other 11 reported on their safety day, that they had utilized Jack's money for. And the thing is, when Jack gave me the money, we were already doing safety days in Nebraska. So I didn't need his money to host a safety day. So I took his money and we put a training together in central Nebraska, invited 6 different communities together, trained them on how to do a safety day, and they went out and we hosted 6 safety days in Nebraska. So that fall, when I was down there and I gave our report of hosting 6 safety days using the same number of dollars, um, that was kind of I guess, the point where Jack Odell looked at me and he said, "Bernard, you're going to be our trainer from now on." And so that's kind of the way it all started with
Mhm,
my tie with the magazine. And then, so then for probably the first 10 years, I was contracted with the
mhm,
Progressive Farmer magazine and, and contracted. So, every year we had more and more training. So the contract was a little bigger every year. The
mhm.
contract got a little bigger every year. And then after, I think it was, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, then I came to work full time with the organization.
Well, Bernard, you think back to when it all started, and it was some 19 safety day camps, I think, in '95, right around that number.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it would become what it has become today, reaching, upwards almost 2 million children? Did you ever think it would become this, what it is today?
No, it's just crazy, Jesse, because the thing is, we were already doing safety days. This wasn't any big thing, but it was a complete package. It was a package that everybody across the country was wanting and needing. They were needing this. People were wanting to educate the kids in their community, but they didn't have the materials. And that's the neat thing. It was started by the Progressive Farmer magazine. Well, then the magazine was sold, and our foundation had to go out on our own. And that was when we were about 10 years old. And so that's why today it's the Progressive Agriculture Foundation, or the Progressive Agriculture Safety Day. We kept the word progressive in there to honor Progressive Farmer magazine, because we could no longer use their name. We had to go out on our own, but we wanted to continue to honor that magazine. So that's the way we chose to do it. Instead of Progressive Farmer, we went with Progressive Agriculture, and kind of kept that name for the safety day. But yeah, it's just crazy how it built, and the steps. We started with baby steps. Like you say, we in Nebraska we had 6 of those original 19 safety days in that very first year, and then we developed new program. In the beginning, we started out as a community safety days. Usually on a Saturday or during the week. If it was during the summer months, I'd bring the kids in. They were all community based. Well, then after a few years, when Extension really started getting involved, they says, "Well, we want to take this into the schools." We thought, wow, what a great idea. So now I would say today we have probably a little over 80% of our safety days are school based, in which the coordinator, let's say they might want to reach all the third and fourth graders in the whole county. They will bus all of those third and fourth graders like to the county fairgrounds, have the
Mhm,
safety day and that type of thing. So they reach every child as they go through that school system. That's what we kind of call a school safety day. Community ones where, on a Saturday, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, the whole family unit usually comes then to those safety
mhm,
days. So we did expand the program
mhm,
and offered more chapters, more topics, more hands-on activities, and now recently, here in the last few years, we've even kind of added a third chapter. We looked at chapter 1 as community, chapter 2 is the school-based. Now we've added a chapter 3, in which it's actually a classroom product, or a classroom program, where maybe the kids aren't allowed to leave the school property to go to the fairgrounds. That safety day coordinator can go right into the classroom, and they can take those safety messages, props, and that type of thing, because we really are based on hands-on activities. So we want to get those
mhm,
kids involved hands-on. And now we're able to take topics and activities and props, take it right into the classroom, and and be able to reach them that way if the kids aren't allowed to leave campus, type of thing. So again, the program continues to grow. We keep offering more things, and looking that we are just a hair short of 2 million individuals that we have reached through kids and volunteers. It's just it's amazing. It's amazing, and we've done it with all volunteers. We
Mhm.
only staff right now. We usually have a staff. Right now, we've been running a staff of 7, but we've just hired a new person, and I'm on my way out the door here, so they'll still have a staff of 7. And a staff of 7 runs the international program. And we will, on a normal year, host somewhere in the ballpark of 400 safety days. We'll reach over 20,000 volunteers, over 80,000 kids in one year, and we do that with a staff of 7 people. And that's what's amazing, is the numbers that we have with the small staff that we have.
Mhm.
And we can't thank our volunteers enough. Our volunteers, they're the ones that make our program. Those volunteer coordinators, when
Mhm.
we train about 400 to 500 coordinators every year. But then that volunteer coordinator goes back to their community, and they may have anywhere from 40 to 50, 75, depending on how big their safety day is. Then they have that many volunteers that they motivate to help out there. And so it's just a very unique program, very common product, but a very unique program that it's the whole thing is done by volunteers.
Well, Bernard, what has been your favorite part of working with the foundation and with the Safety Day programs? Can you narrow it down to one? I'm sure it's tough.
It's tough. It's tough, but I still got to go to my favorite part of the program is training the volunteers, working with those volunteers. I enjoy, you can't mandate a volunteer. You got to motivate volunteers. And I tried to motivate volunteers because the volunteers motivated me. The more I was working with the volunteers, and the more excited they would get, the more excited I would get. And the more and the thirst and the hunger they have for more topics and more activities, the more excited I got about producing more topics and more activities. So I loved working with the volunteers, and that was definitely my favorite part of the job. But I also fed off of their excitement, type
Mhm.
of thing. And again, in a normal year, we would have roughly 20,000 volunteers across the country.
Wow. Now, looking to the future, obviously, you're stepping aside well deserved retirement, all the years you've put into farm safety and youth farm safety and this foundation and everything. What do you see for the future of the Progressive Agriculture Foundation and Safety Days? Obviously, great team that is still going to be there, and you've worked with many of them for years. I mean, what do you see as the future of the foundation and Safety Days?
I think when I look at the future, I kind of look at it as twofold, Jesse. One is where they're going to go physically. How large are they going to get? How many safety days are we going to have? So I look at the future as size, because I can remember when we started with 12 of us in the room, and then all of a sudden we went all across the United States. Well, then we added Canada, so now we're a North American program. Well, then one of our sponsors wanted to take it to South America, and we did that. We now have safety days in Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, down there in South America. So when I look at where we're going to be in the next 10, 20, 30 years, I think we'll be all around the world. I think it's just,
Mhm.
everybody is wanting the product, and it's just dollars and time and a volunteer, because we don't have staff to travel all around the world. I mean, we've got to be able to have provided training, and people have got to come to us, and it's a whole process. Because the thing is, we've got fantastic sponsors, and the thing is, we have volunteers, but the sponsors are also amazing, because you're not going to do this without dollars. We somebody's got to bring the dollars to the plate. So the thing is, where are we going to go in the future? I think is really going to be probably sponsor driven. And because that's how we expanded into South America. We had a sponsor that wanted
Mhm.
to take it down there, and there's no doubt in my mind we have sponsors that want to go to other countries. It's just going to be a matter of time of putting that plan together because it's a long process when you start taking the program out of the country. There's a lot of legalities. So
Mhm.
all of that, it's going to be interesting to see what the future looks like.
Well,
Second
yeah.
fold, the
Go
second
ahead. Go
fold,
ahead.
yeah, the second fold of your question, what's the future going to look like, is in the way of product, the curriculum. We have a wonderful staff, fantastic staff here with the program, and the manual, the planning manual is never going to be done. There's always going to be new things that we're adding. The topics and activities manual is never going to be done. We're always adding new topics, new hands on activity. Like right now, I think we have 30 some chapters in that topics and activities manual, and we have hundreds of hands on activities that those volunteer coordinators get a pick from. What activities do we want to get these kids involved on? That's what we're really based on. Get those kids out of the chair, get them involved in hands on activity. You get a child involved in a hands on activity, they're going to remember that for the rest of their life. And that's what we're all about. We want those kids to learn things about health and safety that they're going to remember for the rest of their life. And that's the second fold of this. Well, what's our curriculum going to look like 10, 20, 30 years from now? Because I can see how it's expanded in the first 30 years. I can't imagine what our staff will do with that curriculum in the next 30 years. And again, if the curriculum expands and we expand in more countries and more states and more provinces, we're also going to have to expand in sponsors. So the sponsors are going to have to expand, and you know how that's all works together with 7 people. I think a lot of people will find that amazing.
Well, I know as well folks can donate, not just, sponsors, but individuals can donate to, Progressive Agriculture Foundation Safety Days by you could text 44321, I know, text safety day to that number. You can go online as well, progressiveag.org to find more information. There's a lot of ways you can help, and you can sign up to have your own host your own safety day as well on the website. So a lot of great ways to get involved. And Bernard, um, it's been a pleasure over the years working with you, sir, and definitely congrats on a great career, well deserved retirement, and appreciate all the work you've done to teach our youth farm safety. And I just definitely appreciate all the knowledge and the years getting to work with you, sir. It's been my pleasure.
Hey, it's also been my pleasure, Jesse. You've been amazing to work with, and like you say, we have worked together for years, getting the message out there to rural America. And I just want to thank the foundation, the staff, and media, everybody. Just you guys all do a wonderful job of helping us get that message out there. We can't do it alone. It's got to be a team effort. And Jesse, you're a key player in that team.
Well, Bernard, enjoy retirement. Get out in the RV or get out and see the grandkids. Do do whatever you want to do. You have earned it, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, I appreciate it. With that, Bernard Geschke with the Progressive Agriculture Foundation. Thanks for joining us here today. Learn more at progressiveag.org.